Hi, hello, and welcome to the channel. I'm Lady Celine, and today we are continuing with Chapter 3 of Chaos Head Noah. Let's see, what happened last time? Well, we got our D-sword. Not really sure how to use it. Maybe one of the girls will be nice and show us. I'm thinking it's going to be Senna. I feel like we're going to see a lot more of Senna and Fess soon. But we got our sword. Oh yeah, there's a new girl. There's a new girl in class. Maybe she must also be tied into all the sword stuff. And we got that mysterious, creepy voicemail. Uh, some kind of like brainwashing or mind control alert, or you know what I mean? I don't even know what to expect next. Oh, that's right. We are changing point of view for the moment. Nishijo Takumi's alma mater, Kitazawa Second Elementary School, was about a 5-minute walk from the private train station. Ban Yasuji had attempted to contact Takumi's elementary school teacher over the phone, only to be told that they had unfortunately passed away. Okay, so this is the police. Ban is the police guy, the detective, and this must be related to the bus crash that happened to Takumi's classmates. So interesting that he's, I don't know. I think it's interesting that he's on to that and thinks that it's relevant to explore. But give me lore, give me lore. I love it. I love it. I love it. Left with no other choice, Bon had decided to set up a meeting to speak with the person who had answered the phone instead, the head teacher, Kamio. Not long after, he had arrived at the school together with his partner. As it was a Saturday, the school gate was closed. The two detectives, Bon and Suwa, stopped in front of it and turned their attention toward the school building. The white walls of the school's exterior had been painted with a brightly colored, eye-catching mural. Due to his complete lack of knowledge on paintings or any other kind of fine art, Bon had no idea what it signified, but the way the spiral-shaped mural transitioned vertically into an array of 7 different colors reminded him of a rainbow. As Bon stared at the mural, cooling himself with his handheld fan, goddamn still, why is he always so hot? Is that like a side effect of alcoholism or something? I'm getting kind of that vibe from him. His partner, Suwa, pushed the intercom button next to the school gate. Suddenly, Bon looked around. He had a feeling that someone was watching him. There was a gaze that seemed to follow him everywhere, leaving him quite discomfited. Do I really look that cool? He attempted to strike a casual pose, one that aimed to be dandy and refined. Sir, what's up with the weird pose? They said there's a side entrance by the rear gate, so they want us to come around that way. Bon retired from his pose with a sigh and headed toward the back of the building. Oh, come on, you could have at least shown us the pose. I want to see how fabulous he looks and also just get context on what exact kind of pose he's going for. Yeah. The staff room was easy to find. As soon as they entered through the side door, all they had to do was travel down the rear entrance hallway and turn at a single corridor to arrive at the room. There was, of course, no sign of children in the school. Although it was likely a mere illusion created by the smooth linoleum floor, the two detectives felt far colder inside the building than they had outside. There were 3 teachers in the staff room. Upon seeing the 2 detectives enter the room, one of the 3 stood up and bowed. The man who stood up was named Kamio. His mostly white hair was parted to the side, and he greeted the 2 of them with a gentle smile. Bon and Suwa showed their police badges to him almost simultaneously, returned his greeting briefly, then immediately approached the topic at hand. It was Sua's job to ask the questions. We'd like you to tell us about one of your graduates, Nishido Takumi-kun. I do indeed remember him. I wasn't a teacher of him myself, however, so I cannot provide you much detail. Is that all right? Sua nodded, taking out his notebook and preparing to write everything down. What kind of kid was Nishijo-kun? I remember hearing that he was quite the difficult one. They said he was special. What do you mean? Well, to be proper, he had a disease that would make it difficult for him to get along with his fellow students. Could you be more specific? I don't know if I'm able to say as much. Would you be willing to ask his family or doctor? Schools had recently begun adopting this approach, where they would avoid any issues that may prove difficult for them. Bro, I mean, fair. That's not necessarily... Like I said, I don't know why he's roping the school into this. They refused to take part in anything that may earn them complaints from parents and any other parties. Such practices made it incredibly difficult for the police to do their jobs. I guess so, but I feel like he's doing a bit much. Like, he should be investigating Takumi since he's their lead suspect. But why is he looking into, like, this kid's background? I feel like looking into his present would be a lot more productive. We can find out the why of what he does later. How did his homeroom teacher pass away? There was an accident. While he was taking his class on a field trip, the road their bus was traveling on suddenly collapsed underneath them. Oh, I remember that. I saw it on the news. All of the children survived, sustaining only minor injuries. But the teacher didn't make it. It's such a terrible shame that we lost Mr. Saito. He was the sole victim of the accident. Was Nishijo-kun involved in this accident as well? In response to Ban's question, Kamio shook his head lightly. The boy was absent that day and was not present on the bus. Why was he absent? I seem to recall hearing something about his illness having worsened. Ban, too, had a faint recollection of the accident. For multiple days following the incident, in the short glimpses Ban caught of the news, he would always see the media swarming the house of the sole boy who had not been involved in it. It was a truly sad accident. For some reason, while Kamio was repeating himself, he placed a strong emphasis on the word accident. Maybe because he's not sure why they're thinking that a kid somehow caused a bus accident while he wasn't on or near the bus. All right, back to our main guy. I'd started talking with Grim a lot more before booting up ESO recently, to the point where it was becoming almost like a ritual. It never really mattered what we talked about. We'd trade interesting or funny at-channel threads, go off about porny shit, wreck each other new comics, talk about anime from the day before, or other various dumb shit. Funnily enough, we didn't actually talk about ESO very much, but that was just because we already talked about it a lot while we were playing it. That makes sense. Neidhart. Yeah, what's going on? Oh yeah, this is the chat room. Has there been some weird-ass prank going around recently? Not a lot to go off there. Deets, please? I don't know. I just heard about it from someone I know. Don't know if it's actually a fad or some shit. It's like there's a recording of a weird sound and you get that as a voicemail or something. What, like a moe voice whispering sweet nothings to you? Lol 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 lol. The fuck, Lamau? What eroge is that from? I mean, wouldn't you rather them just do that to you in person? Lol. No one cares. Now, whose fucking eyes are those eyes? We're memeing over here. Grim was still saying that. Thanks to that, I started to feel awful pretty much immediately. Not to mention he was talking really weird in a chat, to the point where it felt fairly forced, like he was trying way too hard to be funny by shoving those words in. Or at the very least, I didn't find it funny. In fact, it felt more cringy than anything. But I couldn't let myself get angry with him until I'd gotten my info about the prank, so I was forced to put up with it. Okay, so it's like the sounds of a wild otaku freak fapping then? Lol. Okay, that's too far, man. But in all seriousness, they play You May Pass. You May Pass? What, like the song? The one that plays at like crosswalks and shit? Yeah, that one. And then while it's playing, it'll get cut off halfway and swap to a buzzer-like sound. Apparently the volume is ear-raped here. So yeah, ever heard of a prank like that? Strange phone call voicemail. That's the kind of thing you'd find floating around at channel, right? Yesterday, I'd gotten a voicemail with a mysterious buzzer sound. I had no idea who'd sent it, and the contents unsettled me for some reason, which was why I decided to try and ask Grim if he knew about it. If it was just a simple prank, I could just forget about it. Huh? Grim wasn't responding. Why was he being silent? I don't know, maybe he found a real-life friend to talk to. Sorry, bro, I got a girl over. Hello? Did you die? Still no response. Grim didn't usually fall asleep like this. In fact, this was the first time it had ever happened. If he actually had fallen asleep, then I guess I'd just log off. We'd meet up again later in ESO anyway, so I could just bring it up again then. But the second I thought that and began to get up from my chair... Kept you waiting, huh? I was sifting through Atchan. I was looking for stuff about your prank. Oh, so that's why he disappeared. Okay, yep. But that meant that even the oh-so-well-informed Grim hadn't known about the prank. But no matter how many threads or boards or whatever I searched, I found nothing. Not on Atchannel, nor anywhere on the net. So would that mean that whoever had pulled that prank had some sort of personal grudge against me? I was still curious about the true identity of the caller, but I wasn't brave enough to call them back. Wait, that's it. Since I knew the phone number, that meant I could have someone else call it for me. That way they can take the fall. They can be exposed to the sound that's reminding me of the videotape from The Ring. The best person for the job would either be Nanami or Misumi-kun. Wait, Misumi-kun may have been brainwashed by the demon girl, so that probably wouldn't work. As for Nanami, however, she's normie enough. Let's make her do it. I was sure I'd have no trouble asking her to do it. She'd probably get pissed at me afterwards, but who gives a shit? Hell, if anything, it'd be good for her to suffer the tortures of society every once in a while. I thanked Grim for his help, promised that I'd meet back up with him in ESO in a few hours, and closed the chat. Right as I did so, I felt my stomach growl. Man, I was hungry. Did I have any cup ramen stocked anywhere? I tried looking around for a bit, but I couldn't find any. Reluctantly, I decided to head to the convenience store to buy some. The sun was already setting. I wanted to avoid going out late at night as much as possible, because every time I did recently, nothing good ever came of it. True, I would be afraid to leave my house at night if I was in his sitch. I unconsciously started walking faster, hurrying down the road toward the convenience store. Today was a Saturday, so I'd expected to run across a ton of pedestrians, but I hadn't encountered a single one so far. All the stores that should have been open were closed, which kind of weirded me out. Some kind of national holiday? Maybe I was just confused. Like, maybe I had thought that it was 7 p.m. when it was actually 2 a.m. Yeah, like that had ever happened. Yeah, he probably just gets his time from his computer, and if it's hooked up to the internet, that would be pretty, or that should be accurate. But even so, it was way too quiet. I could barely hear any of the normal city noises you'd expect. The aura the city was giving off was different from usual. I arrived at the Shinsen Station convenience store. It was right in front of the train station, and yet there wasn't a single person here either. I was starting to get more and more freaked out. Well, damn, if the other stores are closed, is this also going to be closed? The sudden disappearance of something I'd taken for granted was enough to make me feel like I'd been transported to a completely different world. On a normal day, I would always avoid running into or talking to other people, but all I wanted right now was just to see another person's face. Yeah, this is uncanny valley shit. I burst inside the convenience store. There has to be someone working here, I thought to myself as I looked around the store. Anybody? Perhaps? Delusion. Ooh. There's no one here. We're gonna start out with some badness. There were no customers nor any employees. There's no way. This couldn't be happening. An employee had to be in the back. True, otherwise the doors would not have been open. If I were to just bring something up to the register, they should come out right after. So I decided to leisurely grab a box lunch, pretend to flip through a manga magazine while I was at it, and then come up to the counter and set the box down. And we wait. No one came out. For some reason, I had a bad feeling about this. This wasn't normal. Maybe I'd somehow managed to stumble into something completely unreal. I mean, honestly, maybe. Stepped into an alternate version of this konbini. While still standing in front of the counter, I casually looked outside the store. Beyond the automatic glass doors was a street where not a single person was walking. Then I saw a silhouette hiding in the shadows of the apartment complex across the street. Ooh, is it Remy? Is it our girlie? The form hid itself right after I saw it, but I had already seen it, clearly. In the silhouette's hand was an object resembling a long black cylinder. Was that a sniper rifle? Okay. Honestly, not what I was expecting. Did that mean that the silhouette was a member of the riot police? Or maybe the SAT? I'm guessing that's like SWAT for them. That was why I couldn't see any customers or employees. The police had blocked off the area. But why the hell would they do that? Oh, this could be related to a bigger government thing. Maybe it is blocked off or something and we didn't see it because we're within the blocked off area. Having thought of that, I started freaking out. I quickly looked around the store, then ducked behind a shelf. Because we were with the kind of government guys earlier that were saying that there's some kind, like, this area of town exudes a lot of a certain energy, and so they might have it blocked off for some kind of testing. And yeah, he's just within the blocked off area. That's possible, I think. That's it. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Could this be? Was there a police standoff happening right now at this very store? A criminal who had taken the store employee hostage might be barricading himself in the back. And that criminal might be the true new-gen culprit. They seem to have a different style. Oh God. I sank down to the floor and cradled my head in my hands. Why had I let myself go somewhere so dangerous? Okay, I'm starting to think this was a bad idea, because we're just giving him more agoraphobia and less of a reason to leave his bin. Wait, no, this wasn't my fault. The police were the police. If they were blocking off the area, then they should have stopped me before I went to the convenience store. It was their fault. Was there any way I could escape? If I stayed here, they'd take me hostage too. Fortunately, I hadn't run into the culprit yet. If he was hiding in the back room, I should get out now while I still can. I was so scared. My knees felt like they were about to give out. It was extremely difficult to even stay upright. Even so, I kept myself low to the ground. This is a message for the perp. It began with a shout so cliché you wouldn't even hear it on modern-day detective shows. From outside the store, a policeman started shouting through a megaphone. It startled me so bad that I hid back behind the shelf again. We have you completely surrounded. Release the hostages and come out with your hands up. What an incredibly stereotypical way to call them out. Didn't they have a negotiator or something? I mean, probably. They can send the negotiator in after asking nicely doesn't work. You have 30 seconds. 30 seconds? That was practically nothing. You will surrender before then. If not, we will take forceful action. What? They wanted to come in by force? Were they trying to put the hostages in danger? If you did that in modern-day Japan, the public and mass media would eat you alive. What the hell were the police thinking? I stayed crouched down on the floor and held my breath. My heart was pounding insanely fast. It felt like my chest was about to burst. If the police were going to force their way into the store, the whole place would become a war zone, and I'd be caught right in the crossfire, whether I wanted to or not. I might get hit by a stray bullet and die right there. Oh, please, no. I couldn't see what the criminal was doing. The entire store was silent. I was getting angry. What the hell was the criminal doing? Hurry up and surrender already. Otherwise, I'd get caught up in this too, and I am the main character. I gingerly peeked out from behind the shelf and looked outside once more, and what I saw shocked me to my core. There were several SWAT snipers in plain view of me, all of which were training their sniper rifles right at the store. What if Takumi's actually the bad guy in this situation? What do you call someone who takes someone else hostage? Kidnapper, kind of, yeah. But it'd be interesting. They're gonna think that it's him and probably shoot him in this delusion here. I frantically jerked my head back behind the cover. The police were going to shoot the criminal to death. Would they be able to get away with something like that in Japan? I couldn't believe it. You have 10 seconds. This couldn't be happening. Give me a break. My eyes darted around the room restlessly until suddenly they settled on my hand. What? Ooh, what's in his hand? What's in his hand? For some reason, in my hand was a knife. I don't think you can buy a knife at a convenience store, man. Ooh, shit! I think I was right. I think he's the baddie in this situation, in this delusion. The blade was soaked in red. It was blood. What? I was confused. How long had I had that knife in my hand? Where'd I even get it? Whimper, whimper, whimper. I heard someone groaning close by. An employee was lying on the floor. He was a bleary-looking guy, likely a college student. His hands were tied behind his back. His mouth was covered with duct tape. He was looking at me. His eyes were stricken with fear. Why are you looking at me? Don't look at me like that. You're looking at me like I'm a criminal. Wait. Was I the criminal? No, it wasn't me. I hadn't done anything. I only have a really bloody knife in my hand that obviously indicates that I did something with it. Time's up. We will now open fire. Bing, bang, bong, boom. This wasn't happening. Snipers, ready, aim. This wasn't happening. Fire. This wasn't happening. All right, what's actually going on? Let's come back to the present. Yeah, the police would never do that. Like, come on, fire? Really? It wasn't like a standoff or a battle straight out of the Sengoku period or something. Several minutes had passed while I was having my delusion. There was still no sign of any employees. I wanted to believe that the cashier was just taking a nap. Or a shit. So I waited for another 5 minutes. But while I waited, no employees showed up, nor did any customers enter the store. There wasn't even as much as sound. After enough time had passed, I started feeling scared, so I put the box lunch back on the shelf and left the store. Dude, yeah, what if the clerk was just taking a super long shit break? Or we stepped out for a smoke in the back, something like that. I opted to go to the railroad crossing located right next to the station. From there, I'd be able to see the Shinsen Station platform. There was no way a place like that would be deserted, right? That was what I hoped, but there was no one there. I waited for a train to come. Once that happened, there'd be a bunch of passengers that would get off. But even if no one got off, I'd definitely see people riding the train as it passed in front of me. I don't know if we're gonna see any trains. Even after 10 minutes, a train still hadn't come. I tried to convince myself that there must have been an accident or something that had messed with the schedule, but there was no sign of any passengers on the platform. It was then that I finally realized the gravity of the situation. This was weird. This was really, really weird. That's it. I'll go to Shibuya Station. There absolutely had to be people there, no doubt about it. There were people in front of Shibuya Station 24/7, without fail. I broke into a run without thinking. I wonder how out of shape he is. He doesn't seem like a gym class hero kind of guy. I ran as hard as I could. I didn't want to stop, even if I was out of breath. It was probably the first time in my life that I'd ever run so hard. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. As I ran, I hoped that this was just some sick dream I was having, but I knew it wasn't. My heart and lungs felt like they were about to explode. The pain was far beyond what you could feel in a dream. It surprised me how unbelievably fast I was breathing. And yet, no matter how much I inhaled, the pain refused to go away. And, this is the distance between stations. Is he also not seeing people in the, like, these connecting streets as he's running. Because that's also creepy. They just did, like, someone did an evacuation. Like, did we miss a call to action or something? As I kept running down Dogenzaka, I finally saw 107. By the time I did, my legs were already shaky. My body felt extremely heavy. Even so, I forced my feet to keep moving. I no longer had it in me to pay attention to my surroundings. The entirety of my consciousness was focused on Scramble Crossing, the symbol of Shibuya. Almost there, just a little bit farther. The second I passed 107, it'd be right there. The largest in Japan. It was the place where the largest number of people in Japan came together all at once. That was why I had to get to Scramble. To Scramble. Faster! Still nobody. God damn it. Empty. We're not supposed to be here, are we? That was the state of Shibuya Station, which I could see from the Y junction running in front of 107. A world without sound. A world that felt dead. A place which had always been flooded with overwhelming sound, now ruled by silence. The only thing I could hear was the sound of my own heavy breathing. This can't... I fell to my knees in the middle of the large street. I couldn't walk another step. The shock had stolen every last ounce of strength from my body. This is Shibuya, right? There was no one to my left, to my right, in front of me, behind me. There was no one anywhere. Even though 7 p.m. on a Saturday night was when Shibuya should have been the most crowded. What was going on? This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. I closed my eyes and cradled my head. This was a dream, an illusion. This couldn't be reality. Yes, it was true that I wanted to live a quiet and peaceful life all by myself. I didn't want anyone to interfere with me, and I didn't want to get involved in anything. But that didn't mean I wanted to live in a world where no one existed. If no one else existed, who would pay for my living expenses? To be fair, no one would be expecting those living expenses. Like, you wouldn't have anyone to pay. But I was going to make a joke of like, no, like, I need the clerk back to sell me boxed lunches. Like, I need people back to serve me. So I guess I wasn't too far off. If no one else existed, who would make my boxed lunches for me to eat? If no one else existed, who would play ESO with me? True, an MMORPG would probably be pretty boring without the MM part. If no one else existed... a sound. I'd heard a sound. It hadn't come from me. It had been from someone else. Someone was here. Someone other than me was nearby. I felt like I had been saved. As I thought, it was just a coincidence. It only appeared like there was no one there. In truth, no one had disappeared. I wasn't the only one left in the world. I was so relieved that I almost started crying. I turned my gaze toward the sound. Just a single person? It was a boy in a wheelchair. A short distance away from me, though still in the middle of the intersection, he sat quietly in a place. I couldn't quite figure out how old he was. If I had to guess from his size alone, I'd say he looked like he was in elementary school. He was wearing his hat so low that I couldn't see his expression very well. But we meet at last. I could hear the boy's voice extremely clearly. It felt like he was whispering directly into my ear, which made me turn around. Of course, there was no one there. Excuse me, sir. Do you know what's going on here? Even though he was younger than me, I ended up speaking formally to him. Why is there no one here? Would you happen to know the reason why? Yes, I know why. Despite how young his voice sounded, there was nothing childish about it. But more importantly, did you receive my message? Oh, is this the phone caller? Message? What message? I had no idea what he was talking about. Who are you? The boy moved his wheelchair forward slightly. The wheelchair is old. The boy moved his wheelchair forward slightly. The wheelchair was old, and it made a rusty sound as it came closer to me. Whose eyes are those eyes? Yes? I was confused. Why had he murmured, "Whose eyes are those eyes," just now? Who was he? Ooh, is this Shogun? Is this him, like, meeting his other personality? Maybe we're in, like, some kind of weird mental scape. You must awaken, quickly. Oh, shit. Maybe we are in a dream. Because if you don't, many more people are going to die. Okay. What the hell are you? I rubbed my eyes to wipe away my tears, and because of that, I was finally able to get a clear look at the boy's face. Oh, gosh. Spooky. The boy wasn't a boy. His skin was covered with wrinkles like an old man. His cheeks were hollow. His eye sockets had sunken in to an abnormal extent. His pupils were cloudy. He had no eyebrows. And his body was as small as a child's. Okay. I am Shogun. Well, hello, Mr. Shogun, sir. For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. My head felt like it had been struck by a hammer. The ground was shaking violently. No, my body was falling over. I shot my hands out to the asphalt to keep myself upright. What had he just said? Shogun. He was Shogun? Don't forget. You mustn't run away. I lifted my head and watched as Shogun, who had already turned his back to me, left Scramble Crossing. His wheelchair was getting farther and farther away, making a creaking sound as it moved. Bye, guy. Thanks for the advice, I guess. The thought of chasing after him and pressing him for answers didn't even cross my mind. No, dude just wants to get away from this guy as fast as possible. I didn't think of running up and punching him in the face for dragging me into this, either. I wasn't even a remotely confrontational person. My head started to hurt. The area around my temples throbbed with pain. Still cowering on the spot, I tried to endure it. Taku. In the world without sound, a discordant noise began to spread, an all-encompassing static. Whose voice was that? Whose voice was those voice? Whose voice was that voice? There we go. I got there eventually. Don't look at me. Taku! What had previously been just a random, discordant mess of garbled static gradually turned into a real voice. Someone gently placed a hand on my shoulder. You're in the way, assholes. What the hell's your problem? Kids these days. Oh, is dude having a mentee bee in public? Could it be some kind of performance? Taku? While still trying to endure the pain of my headache, I looked up. Yeah, I'm thinking bro just dissociated the fuck out. The demon girl, Rimi, was peering at my face as she stood over me. Eyes that were clear and full of life. Eyes that looked at me and only me. Again, this girl had appeared out of nowhere once again. Can you walk? Here. She genuinely looks concerned. She wrapped her hand under my arm and tried to make me stand up. I shrieked and shook her off. I came to my senses and looked around. I was still in the middle of the street, but it wasn't deserted anymore. There were people around me in every direction, walking every which way without paying me any mind. Taku? Rimi, with a face that looked like she was about to cry, reached out to me once more. Listen to me, Taku. Stay back! When I screamed, the throbbing in my head transformed into an intense stabbing pain. Even so, I tried to ignore it, scrambling back on all fours to try to get away from Rimi. It was you, wasn't it? That was your delusion, and you made me see it. Okay, not sure how we got to that conclusion. Controlling my mind? Attacking my psyche? You fucking demon! I'm gonna kill the likes of you with my sword. Ooh, this is a bad mentee bee. As soon as I get back to my base, I'll get my D-sword. Yeah, slap him back into reality, babes. An abrupt impact ran through my cheek. It stung with pain, and it began to heat up. She'd slapped me. She was going to kill me once and for all. Oh my god, this guy. Scurrying back on all fours, I tried as hard as I could to escape with my life. But Rimi quickly grabbed my hand. With strength I never thought a girl could have, she pulled me toward her. Are we just gonna, calm him with a hug? Very, very trope of you. And embraced me. Her soft form gently enveloped my own. It was so warm. I could smell a tiny hint of sweat. Her silky hair tickled the tip of my nose. Pull yourself together. With such an anticlimax, my whole body felt like it was about to give out. It's not safe for you to stay here. Her voice was slightly shaky. I couldn't tell if she was crying or not. Because the light's turning red. Taku, I love you, but you need to move. You're blocking traffic. I was so confused. Was she not going to kill me? Why was she helping me? The hallucination from before, where all of the people of Shibuya disappeared, it wasn't something she'd forced me to see? When I felt such a kind, gentle warmth, when she'd embraced me so innocently. It shook everything I had believed up until that point. Could it be that Sakihara Rimi was a good person? Wasn't actually a demon at all? Or was it foolish to believe that? What if this was just a cunning way to deceive me? Regardless, one thing was for sure. With Rimi hugging me, I felt an incredible sense of relief. I had no idea what to call such a strange sensation. Upon letting go of me, Rimi put my face between her hands and then stared at me once again. Her eyes were slightly red. Please, Taku. Come with me. Okay? For some reason, I nodded. We were standing still, alone in the middle of the empty intersection. I don't think so. A number of people on the sidewalk waiting for the pedestrian signal to change were watching us closely. We could hear a few people laughing here and there. Many cars had their headlights trained on us and were starting to honk their horns. Rimi grabbed my hand tightly and started running toward the sidewalk. She pulled me along with her, and I followed. Let's make it so you don't get run over by a car. With countless horns blaring at us, we made it to the sidewalk. Rimi breathed a sigh of relief and stopped. My hand was still in hers. Just being held in this way made my heart feel more and more at ease. I wanted to submit myself to this feeling. I wanted to stay like this forever. Rimi turned back in my direction. I'm glad you're okay. She smiled, an incredibly happy smile. I didn't know whether it was real, an act, or what exactly it was. But... let go? Because I had been so hostile to her until now, because I had thought of her as a demon until now. If I let her win me over like this, I felt like I'd cease being myself. Oh, sorry. She quickly let go of my hand. Anyway, you really gave me a scare. You were all huddled up in the middle of the road. I had no idea what I was going to do once the light turned red. I turned my back to Rimi as she started talking cheerfully. I walked off, pushing my way through the crowd of people. I'm going home. Honestly, that's probably best, but he's just trying to get away from her. Oh, okay, then I'll walk back with you. I know you're not feeling too hot. Her voice chased me from behind, but I shook my head in refusal. Taku? The cheerfulness from before had vanished from her voice. I felt terrible, considering how much she had done to help me. So thank you. I guess. Barely, just barely, managed to squeeze out those words. Thanks for saving me from traffic. I mean, that's a genuine thank you, but like, he's really just so mean to her. To think that the 3 investigative divisions would actually be merged into one. We saw it coming, but the police were up in the air about that. Staring at the detectives gathered in the Shibuya Police Department's conference room, Ban Yasuji thought that to himself. The Inokashira Line Shibuya Station public bathroom homicide case, or as the media called it to amuse themselves, the vampire case, had caused an increasingly serious drop in manpower. When 3 brutal murders occurred within the same jurisdiction, within the same period of time, the possibility of a single perpetrator became more and more evident. A suggestion had been raised that the Cornelius Tower mass suicide case be handled by the juvenile division, but since the media had been treating it as part of New Gen, there was the possibility that if the police treated the case differently, they would be subjected to criticism. Therefore, it was only natural that the Central Office had chosen the only remaining option, to merge the several investigation headquarters. With this integration now in place, the group was reviewing the series of new-gen cases one by one. The projection screen at the front of the conference room displayed a series of photographs of the crime scenes, one after another. Sua had been chosen to hold the presentation. Here, make a PowerPoint of these images, gore images. Fun. He had stayed up all last night going over the documents endlessly. Good work, Bond muttered internally, chin resting in his hands. Oh, that's the group dive. The Cornelius Tower mass suicide case went down on September 7th. Took place on... Of the 4 incidents that the mass media has begun referring to as New Gen, it was the first to occur. At 11:30 p.m., a group of 5 men and women fell from the helipad on the roof of Shibuya's Cornelius Tower. There were no survivors. All 5 were underage high school students, 3 male, 2 female. Out of the 5, 2 attended the same school, while the remaining 3 each attended different schools. The autopsy of the bodies revealed that each of the 5 had small traces of flesh embedded beneath their fingernails, along with scratches on the palms of their hands. From this information, we can assume that the 5 fell while holding hands. There was no sign of any suicide notes on the roof. It appears that the 5 victims all came together after school and headed toward Cornelius Tower together. As for further proof that there is more to this incident than a mere group suicide, the roof of Cornelius Tower is off-limits to all non-personnel. At the time of the incident, the door to the rooftop was locked, and none of the 5 victims' fingerprints were found on the doorknob. The key to the rooftop was not found among any of the 5 victims' belongings either. This suggests that someone other than the victims may have been present at the scene before and after the incident occurred. The investigation is proceeding under the assumption that the third party possessed the key to the door, locked it, and left before or after the incident. We have already conducted interviews of all Cornelius Tower hotel employees, and nearly every one of them has an alibi. We are now in the process of interviewing the employees of the companies hosted in the tower. Currently, we have yet to find a motive for any of the 5 victims to commit suicide. For 4 out of the 5 victims, those related to them in some way, such as family members, friends, school teachers, and so forth, all declare unanimously that there was no reason for any of them to commit suicide. Sorry, we've switched cases, I see. The slideshow swapped to a picture of the second case, the Shibuya Station undergrad and fetus homicide case. Next, let's discuss the case known colloquially as the man-child case. The incident occurred on September 19th, 12 days after the group dive incident. The first to discover the body was an employee of a karaoke box located near the scene. The body was found at approximately 5 a.m. The victim is 21-year-old Konoe Chizuo, a third-year college student living in Shibuya Ward. The victim was already dead when he was found. The time of death is estimated to be around 1 a.m. on the 19th, about 4 hours before the body was found. The body's abdomen was unnaturally swollen, and a fetus was discovered inside it upon examination. The autopsy revealed that the victim's abdomen had been cut open while they had still been alive. and the fetus had then been inserted inside. Oh. The fetus is believed to have already been dead at that point in time. The victim died after his abdomen was sewn back together. We found traces of thread being torn from the wound, leading us to believe he had been scratching at the sutures prior to his death. The fetus was found to have been developed for at least 8 months, which leads us to believe that it was removed from the mother's body via C-section. The mother of the fetus has not yet been determined, and whether they are alive or dead is similarly unknown. Forensic analysis of the DNA has shown that the fetus and the victim are unrelated. To support this, the fetus's blood type is B, and the victim's blood type is A. Sua took a breath. He seemed exhausted from all the talking. Furthermore, he must have been awfully nervous giving a presentation in front of so many senior detectives. Next, we have the third case, the Maru Yamacho affixed man homicide case. Affixed man, interesting, okay. After a short delay, the next slide displayed a photo of the crime scene. Oh yeah, we know. Oh! I'm sorry, this is very... I feel like this is different from what Takumi saw. Like, he saw a lot more of these, like, cross nails that are hanging the man. He saw so many of them. Like, man looked like a pin. He described it looking like a pincushion or something. Like, there's something. Okay. The incident occurred on September 29th. The victim is 56-year-old Ota Hisashi, a professor at Toto University. The first to discover the body was a man living in an apartment near the crime scene. The victim's cause of death was strangulation. After they were killed, the body was pinned to the wall with 10 small metal spikes. Okay. That's... it makes me wonder what the previous guy did to earn not being dead before the mutilation. As you can see, the body has next to no external wounds. Oh, okay. I mean, that makes sense. They said he died from strangulation. A few of the spikes penetrated the body, but the spikes were generally affixed to the victim's clothing. Okay, that's interesting, because we were also seeing bloody spikes. So, if this is what it actually looks like... Bro, what if he, like, just, like, killed himself and then someone else pinned the body up? I don't know. The media is referring to it as the crucifixion, the bloody rare steak, or other similar names, despite the fact that there was no bleeding at all. The spikes are sold by the German company Kreuznagel. In actuality, they are steaks with a distinctive, long, cross-like shape. As the killer ultimately elected to use cruciform objects, the investigation is proceeding while examining the crime from a religious angle. We have received several testimonies detailing that between 9 and 9:30 p.m., the time the incident was occurring, the continuous sound of nails being driven into the wall could be heard for tens of minutes in the vicinity of the crime scene. As the victim's estimated time of death is at almost exactly the same time as this, we believe that the victim was likely killed right where the body was found, or somewhere near the scene. In addition, although the statement may not be entirely credible, we have received testimony claiming that a female student from Suimei Private Academy was seen at the crime scene. Ooh, I mean, is that Takumi's testimony? Is that what he's referring to, or did maybe someone else see and report? Oh, report stuff. Sorry, that was a little bit of that was a little bit of a visual scare. Lastly, there is the Inokashira Line Shibuya Station public bathroom homicide case, known colloquially as the Vampire case. The incident occurred on October 10th, and the body was discovered by a station attendant at around 5:30 a.m. The victim's identity remains unknown. There were no belongings left behind that may point toward their identity. The time of death was estimated to be between 6 a.m. and... I'm sorry. The time of death was estimated to be between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. the day prior. That's a large gap. All blood had been drained from the body, and it was left in a state resembling that of mummification. As you are already aware, this photograph was taken by an unknown individual and was sold on an internet auction site about 15 minutes before the body was found. As he listened to Suwa's explanation, Bon gave a light click of the tongue. Seems like death is what's in these days. How very old man. Well, damn, that probably means it's time to wrap it up. So yeah, Takumi's losing his fucking mind. I'm glad we're finally getting some more objective evidence of this crime that he's apparently involved in. Crimes, possibly accidents, I don't know what you want to call them, but this kid has a lot of weirdness surrounding him, and I'm a little worried for him. Well, thank you so much for watching if you've made it this far. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a like. If you didn't, keep it to yourself, put it in the comments, whatever, doesn't matter. And subscribe. Scribble scribe. That way you'll be subscribed, and it'll let me know you're subscribed, and I can see you at the next one.